Okay, so this is going to be the second video where I'm going through intervals and trying to find songs or familiar melodies that you can relate to the interval to help remember what the interval sounds like. It's a way of ear training. On the first video, I went through all the way up till the flat 5, the tritone. That's our. So next we have the minor 6th. Minor 6, it's going to be a E. I'm playing in the key of C, for example. So it'll be in the key of C, it'd be a C and a flat. And a song that's familiar to most people, it would be The Entertainer. And it's not the very first two notes, it's that part right there. So that's our minor 6. Next is a major 6. In the key of C, that's a C and an A. To be honest, a lot of these last few ones I'm going to go through, the next 3 anyways, I couldn't really think of any good examples of riffs or songs that, off the top of my head, that I'm really familiar with that use it. I know there's some out there, but I'm at a blank right now, so if anyone can think of any for these, please put it in the comments. I also found a very good list for all these intervals that lists several songs, known songs for each one to help relate to it, so I'll put that link in the description as well. So yeah, that's our major 6, and I mean, I guess one way I think of it is this typical kind of like blues shuffle chord, like. You know, that's a way for me to remember it, I guess, until I can think of a song that's particular that uses it. Next, we have our minor 7th. And that's going to be a C and a B flat. And again, I have nothing off the top of my head that really I can think of that's using that. I know a million songs that use it, but I just can't. I'm at a blank for it right now. Finally, we have the major 7th, and again, what I'm doing is I'm counting down the scale: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for all the major ones. So there's a 7th note, so I combine that with my first note, the root note, which is C, and that is an E. So I'm sorry, a B. You know, and sometimes if you can't think of a particular song or you can't find one that you're familiar with, just play those intervals back and forth. Try to, memorize it. Finally, we're at the easiest one. It's octave. It's going to be the same note, just higher pitch. Somewhere Over the Rainbow is when I saw recommended. So those first 2 notes. That's our octave. Another one you can think of is the Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. And that last note, that's our flat 5 again. So that's a cool one because you can think octave and flat 5 or your tritone. And that's all of them. That's all our intervals and ways to memorize it. Another really helpful thing you can do for ear training is, I'll try to find some links to put them in the description for this, but there's so many sites, you just got to try them out because they're all a little different. But if you just search interval training or ear training on Google, you're going to find a lot of websites. Some are just set up almost like a game. They go in different levels. I remember when I was using it, first starts out with like 2 different types of intervals. It would be like a unison, so it'll play a note and then another note right after it. And then you got to guess, is it unison or is it a minor 3rd, for example? So it could just go like, and you're going to, it starts out really easy. So you say, okay, unison, and say you're correct. Then it could be, and it'll change pitch to key. And you're going to guess, okay, is that a minor 3rd or is it unison? And as you progress, if you get enough correct, you'll usually move on to the next level, and it keeps throwing more at you. That's really, really good way of doing it as well. Like I said, I'll try to find some examples, but I mean, if you look, there's different ones. They all are kind of designed a little differently, and they all are pretty effective. I've seen some apps you can get for your phone as well for that, so also worth checking out. I just got a request too to show some tips on how to play by ear. I'll do that in a different video actually when I'm done with this one today. One last thing I'm going to go over is finding the interval shapes. You know, the easiest way, like I said, is just learn the C major scale. I'll run through that how I'm playing it really quick. I'm on the E string. I'm playing fret 8 to 10. Then the A string 7, 8, 10. D string 7, 9, 10. So 8, 10, next string 7, 8, 10. Next string 7, 9, 10. And we count those notes 1 through 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we combine 1 with 2. And that's on the same string, so you could play that on the 5th fret of the A string to get that interval. And right now, when I'm playing the intervals of the major scale, those 8 notes, those are all the major intervals. So we'll look at those at first. To make a major interval minor, you're just going to flatten that second note. So move it down a fret. So yeah, I can combine 1 and 2, that's my second. 1 and 3, my third. 1 and 4, my fourth. 1 and 5, my fifth. Power chord. 1 and 6, my sixth, and 1 and 7th. And finally 1 and 8 is our octave. Another way of doing this, to think more in a linear fashion, is actually works for some cool stuff, especially if you're using a lot of drone notes and stuff. Is I'm going to just go on my A string all the way down the neck, and if I play chromatically all the way to the 12th fret, I'm going to hit all the intervals. So like I'll go back and forth I'm using the open string as my root note, and I'm going to go back and forth to 0 and 1 for my minor second, major second, 0 and 2, and I just keep going up a fret. And I can hear all the intervals that way, all the way to the 12th fret, then we're going to repeat. 12th fret's going to be, of course, the octave. Now, you might be confusing which one's a major or which one's a minor. I think the easiest way to do this is just learn your major scale that way. And the easiest way to do it is using half steps and whole steps. A half step is 1 fret, a whole step is 2 frets. And the formula for this, it's really easy. We got to start with our root note, which is in this case our open E string. And we do 2 whole steps in a row. So first whole step is 2 frets up, fret 2. Another whole step, fret 4. So that's 2 whole steps, then a half step, fret 5. Then we're going to do 3 whole steps in a row and a half step. So then you know those positions, whether it's here or here, those I know are all the major intervals, and anything that's not in those 7 notes is going to be the minor intervals. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and like I said, I'm going to start on a new video now that's going to go over using some of this stuff, but also a lot of things. It's related, so it's kind of just some techniques and tips for how to learn how to play songs by ear. All right, that's it.